Yu-Gi-Oh fans, there are only 2 ships in this franchise that could ever be definitively called canon. Hello everyone, and happy Valentine's Day! If you have a special someone, take this day just as a reminder to let them know you love them. And if you don't have a special someone, that's okay, we can live vicariously through our ships. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh ships. I've seen this shipping meme thing floating around on YouTube, so I'm going to take a shot at it. Before we begin, keep in mind that perspective colors everything, and where you may see sexual tension, I may see something platonic, and where I see budding romance, you may see nothing at all. Feel free to argue with me, but also just realize that, technically, there is no complete evidence for any ship in Yu-Gi-Oh, leaving it completely up to one's personal interpretation. Except for rose shipping and MIZUSHIPPING. Those are canon. With that in mind, let's get started. Oh my Ra, where do I even begin? I'll be up front with you guys, in the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, at least, I ship almost exclusively Het. So, okay, I'll narrow it down to 3. Number 3, trust shipping, or SATOU, Kaiba, and Ishizu Ishtar. My love for this ship has only increased over the past few months as I have started to write about it. I just think these personalities could really complement each other. They both have a fierce love for their siblings, they both understand what it's like to go through hell and come out alive, but not unscathed. They know what it's like to feel completely alone, and both of them are, for the most part, confident, mature business people. But they went about their pain in different ways, and I think that is what makes them the most compatible. SATOU went about concealing his pain by turning into the bad guy, and after he learned what he was doing wrong, he still found it hard to express himself, making him a hard person to be in a relationship. On the other hand, Ishizu smothered her pain by masking it in a calm strength to mask her fragility. And in the end, I think Ishizu really learned how to heal, and I think she could help SATOU learn too. Number 2, Peach shipping, or Yugi Muto and ANZU Misaki. Bring it, haters, but I simply love ANZU Misaki. She is one of my favorite characters in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, and I love Peach shipping even more. I'll admit, I won't really ship this within the story itself, because ANZU is still on that on-the-edge stage, trapped in adolescence and confused about her feelings, as most of us are during high school, especially for both Yugi and ATEM. But after the series, when ATEM passes on, I think ANZU and Yugi's relationship would start to grow a little deeper. I really believe that after a while, ANZU would realize that her feelings for ATEM were just a high school crush, but her feelings for Yugi, her childhood friend, are really real. Once they grow up, I imagine a very cute relationship. Number 1, base shipping, ATEM and Mana. If there is a story about childhood friends becoming romance, I will fall in love with it every single time. Honestly, I wish so badly that we had gotten to see more of ATEM's and Mana's interactions. Mana is so bright, bubbly, and cheerful, and I think she makes a wonderful anchor to ATEM. ATEM is thrust into this huge, mind-numbingly difficult position of power at such a young age, while still recovering from losing his father, and suddenly, to everyone around him, he's a god on earth at only 15. But Mana doesn't care. She continues to treat him the same way she's always treated him, with her trademark cheer and care. I doubt ATEM would have been able to continue being Pharaoh without her as a best friend. And perhaps more, in my mind at least. So Yaoi seems really, really popular in the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. Okay, that's an understatement. Yaoi is like the biggest thing in the entire shipping universe for this franchise. But I have to admit, I've never really seen the appeal. Go ahead, throw things at me. I'm armed. I used to like angst shipping, and I still enjoy the dynamics of Merrick and Rio, but I started shipping Rio with someone else, and I have this unwritten rule in my head that one person can only belong to one ship. Otherwise, I feel like I'm contradicting myself. But although I don't angst ship anymore, I do have one Yaoi pairing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Particularly GX. This one, Destiny shipping, Ed and Sayo, or Aster and Sartorius if you prefer the English. Oh my Ra. I have never seen a yaoi pairing that makes me do so much of this. I hated SATOU at the beginning of the series, but when I finally got to see him not making creepy faces in those flashback scenes in the rain and when Ed was dueling to save him and then they almost held hands. I don't have any. As I mentioned before, I have this rule that one person belongs to one ship, and I have pretty much shipped every Yu-Gi-Oh girl with a guy already, except Vivian Wong, because I don't even like her, and I try to pretend that she never existed. So, let's move on. Okay, I'll admit it, this one confuses me. Does this mean a pairing that actually ended up together? Or one that you wished ended up together? I guess I'll go halfway with MIZUSHIPPING, Set and Kisara. This is one of the two only truly canon pairings in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because Kazuki Takahashi said it was, and you don't mess with the word of God. I wished so badly for more development of this romance in the series. Darn you readers of long ago who demanded more card games and less characterization. Yeah, so although Kisara was barely defined in the series, I find her to be a beautiful, strong, and kind individual. Probably a pacifist, judging by her actions during the manga series. And judging by the series, she did wonders for bringing Set to his senses. And even though she died before they could really have a good relationship, it's obvious that Set was desperately in love with her. So much so that it developed into a blue eyes white dragon fetish in his next life, even if he didn't know what it meant. I have two original OTPs, Peach Shipping and Revolution Shipping. Although I still Peach ship, I don't Revolution ship anymore. When I first got into Yu-Gi-Oh!, ANZU was quickly among my favorite characters, and I knew she had feelings for Yami no Yugi, and that Yugi had feelings for her. Oh, love triangles. Gosh, darn those. For a while, I did wholeheartedly support ANZU and Yami no Yugi, but as time went on, I started to notice that I didn't see any spark. The relationship felt completely one-sided. It was like Yami no Yugi didn't have an inkling of romantic feelings towards ANZU. Sure, during Season 0 he kicked butt and took names to protect her, but that seemed to stem entirely from Yugi's memories, which he had assumed were his own toward the beginning. As he matured into a separate entity, he stepped back and seemed to support Yugi and ANZU completely, even going so far as to tell Yugi, "Go partner," upon hearing that Yugi had set up a date with ANZU. Peach shipping remains one of my favorite pairings just because of this dynamic. Yugi legitimately wants ANZU to be happy, even if that means giving her up. Meanwhile, Yami no Yugi realizes his partner's feelings, knows that his aren't the same, and also realizes that it would hurt ANZU more to pretend to be in love with her, and thus kind of steps back for Yugi and ANZU to get together because he knows in the end they'll be happier that way. Gosh, Yugi is such a Revolution shipper, and Yami no Yugi is such a Peach shipper. Ah, they're so cute. There was a time when I staunchly refused to ship crack relationships. I kind of missed that time. At least I still had my sanity. Anyway, I'm mostly a canon shipper, but I have two ships that I acknowledge as being pretty cracky, in that there's not even a shred of evidence to support them. I mean, at least Vase shipping and Peach shipping, they're pairs of best friends who actually know each other, so there's at least the potential for romance. But these two, it's not even there. The first one I'm going to talk about is soft shipping, Ryo, Bakura, and Shizuka Kawai. I mean, can you say diabetes? Seriously, take the two most adorable, sweetest characters in Yu-Gi-Oh!, put them in a room together, and you've got the cutest thing since puppies and kittens. Okay, there's that one. But at least those two have been in a room together before. Meet my number one favorite crack ship, one that I'm pretty sure no one else in the world ships. NELLSHIPPING, Noa Kaiba, and Amane Bakura. I first stumbled across this ship while I was working on a project called the Yu-Gi-Oh! Shipping Challenge, where I read a one-shot for every pair on the master shipping list. I had no idea what to do with this one, but when I finally wrote it, I almost cried. I imagined them becoming friends as children, but then Noah died in a car accident and Amane never knew what happened. They were only, Noah was like 9 and Amane was 5. The feels. Although Amane has no canonical truths about her, I still love the complete open-endedness and overall adorableness of this potential pairing. Again, I don't really have any. I don't think so, at least. I don't really feel guilty about any of my ships, except maybe Nell shipping because that's as crack can be, and I do pride myself on sticking to the canon. But I don't really feel guilty about liking these pairings. Okay then, next! Oh, and let the objects fly. I have quite a few pairings that I absolutely hate. Some of them rather self-explanatory, like ANZU and Grandpa, gross. But there's also quite a few that I dislike that are, very popular. Let's start at the bottom of my list. Puzzle shipping. Darn, looks like I already lost you. Okay, before you go, let me explain. I like the idea of this pairing. I really do. I think the characters balance each other nicely. At the beginning, I really wanted to like this pairing. But my problem became that whenever I read a doujin or a fanfiction about them, one or the other would feel very out of character to me. This is just my own perspective, remember, but I feel like Yugi is either made too weak and innocent, a pseudo-girl, or ATEM/YAMI is turned into an overly protective, almost violent boyfriend. But when I read stories that treat them as brothers, I feel like things work out much better. The dynamic just speaks to me better. The spark is there. This is mostly probably because of my tendency to like family stories over romance. And I do have a soft spot for platonic relationships. I'm probably going to take at least one tomato for the next two, but whatever. I hate tender shipping and bronze shipping. Now, puzzle shipping I can tolerate. At least it's cute. But when someone supports an obviously abusive and dangerous relationship, that's what I can't stand to read. Anyway, in tender shipping, Yami no Bakura is a cruel, manipulative, and sadistic character who intentionally harms Ryo, mentally torments him, psychologically abuses him, and forces him to try and kill his own friends. How is that even romantic? And in bronze shipping? Seriously? Merrick's alternate self tries to kill his brother and sister, shoves him into an alternate dimension to die in the shadows, and also psychologically and physically abuses him. I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it when someone thinks these could ever be healthy relationships. And now, if I wasn't already in your blacklist deep enough, here's my all-time most hated shipping. Puppy shipping. Okay, I guess I can see why people would see sexual tension between them. I, for one, feel like this clearly hateful and abusive relationship is much different from the tsundere one that everyone tries to make it out to be. SATOU considers Jonochi the lowest of the low, and he's not afraid to say it. Jonochi thinks SATOU is an arrogant bastard, and he's right. And even if they did get together, I feel like in the end it would completely degrade Jonochi's self-esteem and confidence. Not to mention, it would be a relationship completely dependent on sex, which... Well, let me just say, please label your fanfiction if it's a lemon. Some of us don't want to read that. Okay, well, now that a good 60%, if not more, of the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom hates me, I think I'll leave it at that. Remember everyone, just because I don't like something that you love doesn't make your love less. I'm not trying to insult you in any way, shape, or form. We all have things we love and hate, and it's our right to love and hate them. So respect my right to hate your ship, and I'll respect your right to hate mine. Have a great Valentine's Day. Hey, so you watched to the end. Kudos. And thanks. I don't have a whole lot of videos up yet, but I will be posting more top 10s, reviews, and other stuff about Yu-Gi-Oh!, My Little Pony, and Madoka Magica, and perhaps whatever other thing pops into my head at the time. So why don't you click that little subscribe button? I mean, you know, if you want. Like the video, if you liked it. Leave a comment, discuss, argue with me, even flame me. I like the attention. If you'd like to see more of me, for some reason, there are links to my DeviantArt, fanfiction, and Tumblr accounts below. Or go ahead and do something else with your day. Have fun, and whatever you're doing, have a beautiful day.